With fantasy football drafts and the season on the horizon, here's a double hero RB strategy where you take two running backs in the first 3 rounds. I did a few mock drafts to see how my team would shake out with this strategy, and this is the first mock draft of 3. I did third overall pick I had in this one. I started with Saquon Barkley. In my opinion, Saquon's the best running back going into the year of fantasy football, but a lot of people got Bijan ahead of him and even Jahmyr Gibbs at this time. But with the third pick, I took Saquon. Then I got Bucky Irvin on the way back. I like Irvin this season after last year was a nice rookie season. And then after that, I just plugged away at the receiver position. Went Tyreek Hill in the 3rd round. He's been my go-to in a lot of these mock drafts is Tyreek Hill. He's got great value, obviously, being a 3rd-round pick where he has top 10 upside if everything goes like it did previous seasons for Tyreek Hill. Then 4th round, Xavier Worthy. I like him a lot this season. Towards the second half of his rookie year, he broke out last season. And now for Rashee Rice, most likely going to get suspended. Xavier Worthy's going to have a big role and possibly the number 1 target in this offense. Then Tatoria McMillan, I'm big on him coming into the year. 5th round, I think it's good value for him. I know he's ranked 66 here on Yahoo Sports, but McMillan, he can run the routes. He's their number 1 receiver, and Carolina is going to be struggling a lot. And then I went with another rookie, the Heisman Trophy winner, Travis Hunter, in the 6th round. To have Hunter off the bench, I think, is a good piece. So far, it worked out well, this strategy. I plugged away at the wide receiver position after going with my 2 stud backs to begin the draft. Then in the 8th round, I got Baker Mayfield, where Baker had a big passing season last year. I think once again he's going to go out there and be solid for this Buck team and fantasy owners. I know Chris Godwin most likely missing the first few weeks of action, but they got other capable receivers, drafting Emeka Egbuka and McMillan at the wide receiver position, Cade Otton at tight end, and obviously Bucky Irvin and Rachaad White out of the backfield. Then 9th round, Khalil Shakir, who I've been getting a lot in these mock drafts. He's their number 1 option, in my opinion, in the passing game. And when you're playing with Josh Allen and catch 90% of the passes that come your way, Shakir caught passes in the vicinity last year. He's a great pick. Then I went with his teammate Dalton Kincaid at the tight end position. Kincaid got off to a nice start early in the season last year. Then a banged up injury did him in a little bit. And Josh Allen, he's the type of quarterback that spreads it out to everyone, and that's why Kincaid in the second half last year didn't do good. So with the 2 stud backs early, I punted at the tight end position kind of, but still to get Kincaid in the 10th round solid in my opinion. And then Jerome Ford, Jaden Blue, a pair of backs late in the 11th and 12th round range. Jerome Ford, I believe, is going to be the starter going into week 1. Obviously, Nick Chubb not there anymore. He's with the Texans. Junkins didn't even sign his rookie deal, and he could be in trouble with off-the-field issues as well. And Jaden Blue, he's a lottery ticket type of pick where Javonte Williams most likely going to be the starter week 1 for the Cowboys. They got Miles Sanders as well, but Sanders, he's not 100% in training camp, and Jaden Blue's actually been taking some first-team reps. And then to close it out, Christian Kirk at the receiver position. So to start off with the 2 stud running backs, and still, I like my team a lot at the receiver position in depth-wise. So the final roster, Baker Mayfield, Tyreek Hill, Xavier Worthy, Saquon Barkley, Bucky Irvin, Dalton Kincaid, Tatoria McMillan, Travis Hunter on the bench, DeAndre Swift, Shakir, Jerome Ford, Jaden Blue, and Christian Kirk. So like I said, I got my 2 running backs, and still wide receiver from 1 through 4, I'm strong, I believe. Tyreek could easily be a number 1 receiver, I think, on fantasy rosters this year. Xavier Worthy, I think, has a breakout year too. McMillan, best receiver coming out of the NFL draft. And Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner, obviously both ways of the football he plays. So this roster is very solid. And like I said, when you got 2 stud backs locking it down, you could go anywhere after that in this draft. And that's exactly what I did. Next draft, the 7th position, I want Christian McCaffrey to start it off. CMC, he's my number 7th ranked player coming into the season, so it worked out for me in that aspect. And then Jonathan Taylor at running back. The only thing, obviously, Christian McCaffrey, injuries have been a concern for him, but I've said this a lot in the videos. If Christian McCaffrey's healthy, he's got the upside of being the number 1 running back again this season. Jonathan Taylor last year got off to a slow start. He had some problems in training camp with a contract pulled out, and then at the end of the year got his legs under him. So to get Jonathan Taylor in the mid-second round's good value. And there, like I said, I'm set at the running back position. And then I went Mike Evans in the 3rd round. Here, Mike Evans, he's underrated going into the year. 11 seasons in a row, 1,000 yards receiving. Him and Baker have a great rapport. and to start him as my number one wide receiver, I'm actually pretty comfortable with that, believe it or not. Then I get DK Metcalf in the 4th round. So I think after going 2 running backs to start, wide receivers very strong and deep this season, that you could afford doing this strategy, I think, more than these other strategies. So Metcalf, first year with Aaron Rodgers, first year in Pittsburgh, arguably the best quarterback he's played with in his career. It's going to be this season. Then Joe Burrow in the 5th round. Joe Burrow, a lot of passing yards this season. Best receiver in the league with Jamar Chase. T. Higgins had a great year last year as well. Also, they got Gesicki, got Noah Fant, so a great offense. Chase Brown out of the backfield. Joe Burrow to get him in the 5th round, very comfortable with that. And the only thing it's been with Burrow throughout his career, if he could stay healthy, he's dealt with injuries on and off the route. But last year where he was healthy and they were in a lot of high-scoring games, he put up the numbers. And then 6th round, I got Zay Flowers, which is great value. Zay Flowers, to me, is a top 24 wide receiver going into the season. 7th round, Travis Kelce, which is good value. I think Kelce still could be a big tight end this season. Last year, he had 90 catches, believe it or not. And with Rashee Rice's suspension looming, I think Kelce either the number 1 or 2 option in this passing game. Then at running back, I went again, get some backups. J.K. Dobbins in the 8th round. I believe he'll start the season as a starter for this Bronco team with R.J. Harvey getting a lot of passing downs work. And if they're playing from behind, he'll be in there playing catch-up. Then 9th round, Shakir again. I went with Shakir. He's at great value. He's a top 85, 95 player range for me, Shakir. And to keep getting him in that 9th to 10th range is good value. When you play with a quarterback like Josh Allen, and obviously he counts on you a lot, and you're the number 1 option he was last year in the passing game, every time I'm going to take him in that 9th, 10th round range. Then Cam Scatterbo in the 10th round. He could be giving Tracy a run for his money for that starting running back position over there with the New York Giants. So Scatterbo, a lot of hype coming out of college. Giants like him a lot of fantasy experts like him a lot. And to get him in the 10th round as my 4th running back, it's good value. Then another rookie, Marshall Tootin. He's more of a handcuff option. Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne are going to be fighting for that starting job over there with this Jacksonville Jaguar team. But Tootin, he could be a lottery ticket. We saw last season, Bucky Irvin, a lot of people took him 11th, 12th round range, and he became a top 10 running back in just one season. Then another Buffalo Bill, I get Keon Coleman, their number 2 wide receiver. Keon Coleman showed flashes in his rookie year, but he was up and down. And like I said, I know I got 2 Bill wide receivers, but they're both on my bench. And if one of them breaks out, obviously they could hit the starting lineup on bye weeks, or even if someone underperforms. And then to round out the draft, Kyle Williams, a little bit of an intriguing prospect with the New England Patriots, where they don't got much in that receiving room besides Stephon Diggs. And he's obviously coming off an ACL, so the final roster with the 7th pick overall, Joe Burrow, Mike Evans, DK Metcalf, Christian McCaffrey, and Taylor, my hero RBs. And those are 2 studs. If you could get those guys, in your regular season draft, that's big time firepower in the backfield, no doubt about it. But like I said, I think I recovered pretty well at all the other positions with going running backs to start the draft. Evans, DK Metcalf, and Zay Flowers is my top 3 receivers, very solid. Those guys put up numbers, they make plays. Joe Burrow in the 5th round, a quarterback, great value. Travis Kelce, tight end. And then the bench, good mix of veterans and youngsters as well. J.K. Dobbins, solid backup back. Khalil Shakir, Scatterbo, Marshall Tootin, Keon Coleman, and Kyle Williams. So like I said, so far, the strategies look good where the team's balanced out. Got 2 top running backs in that backfield. Wide receiver is still very solid, even though you could argue Mike Evans ain't a real number 1 for fantasy, but still, to run him with Metcalf and Flowers is solid after Shakir coming off the bench. And now the final mock, 12th pick overall, started off with Ashton Jeanty. I think Jeanty could have a monster rookie season. We know he's one of the best college running backs to come out in the last decade is Jeanty. Then I go with Devon Achane. So these actually are my 12th and 13th ranked players overall, and they dropped in the spots I wanted them to. So I'm very pleased with that in this spot to go with 2 big running backs and young running backs like Jeanty and Achane. And then I started wide receiver, go with Mike Evans. Once again, I'm big on Mike Evans coming into the year, and he's at great value in that 3rd, 4th round range. Then Devontae Adams, I like him as a solid 4th, 5th round pick. Number 2 option over there behind Puka Nacua with the Los Angeles Rams. And in the 5th round, Tedoria McMillan. I'm big on him, obviously. If you've been watching the channel and all these mocks I've been doing, he's falling in that 5th round range, and I'm comfortable with him being the number 3 receiver flex option. Then 6th round, go with TJ Hawkinson. We know young quarterbacks, the security blanket is the tight end position, and Hawkinson definitely could be that for JJ McCarthy. Then 7th round, Jerry Jeudy, add to my receiving depth. After obviously I went with running back the first 2 rounds of this draft. Then Jordan Mason, 8th round. I think he could be solid this year and eat into the workload slowly with Aaron Jones. We know Jones has had injury concerns throughout his career. Then 9th round, Jared Goff, I get in my quarterback position. And Jared Goff, we know he's going to put up yards. They got tons of weapons. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, breakout season last year. Sam Laporte at the tight end position. And arguably the best 1-2 tandem in the backfield in all pro football, and Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. So I like Goff. Obviously, in that 9th, 10th round range, I have no problem waiting on quarterback and getting guys like him, Kyler Murray that late, even Justin Herbert possibly, Dak Prescott. So if you want to wait on quarterback, those guys are in that 9th, 10th round range. Then J.K. Dobbins, again, I went to the well with him. I believe he's going to start with Denver, even though R.J. Harvey's there, obviously. Then Michael Pittman, not a big Pittman guy, but at this point, you know, he's going to be a starter for this Indianapolis Colts team, depending if it's Richardson or Daniel Jones at quarterback. Regardless, he'll be in the lineup. And to get him in the 11th round is a depth piece. And my 5th wide receiver, I'll take it. Keenan Allen, same thing as well. I believe he'll be the number 2 option in the passing game behind Ladd McConkey. We know him and Herbert have good ESP, good trust, and good rapport over the last few years. And then even last season, he went to Chicago, where that was one of the worst offenses in the league early on. Still had 70 catches and 7 touchdowns. I think Keenan Allen is a back-end receiver, especially in the 12th round. Can't go wrong. And then I get Isaac Guerrero, who's one of the best handcuff running backs in the league. And we know Christian McCaffrey, the last few seasons, obviously, he's had injury concerns in the final roster. Jared Goff, a quarterback. Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Ashton Jinty, and Devon Achane, 2 monster backs to get with this hero RB strategy. TJ Hawkinson, Tedora McMillan, solid at the flex for me. Jerry Jeudy, Jordan Mason on the bench, J.K. Dobbins, Pittman, Keenan Allen, Isaac Guerrero. So to be honest, this double hero RB strategy, I like it a lot entering the season because wide receivers deep this year. And you saw with these mock drafts, I started with the double hero RB strategy the first 2 rounds, and then I plugged away at the wide receiver position. And still, you could wait, like I said, at the quarterback position, bunch of guys 9th, 10th round, and the tight end, you could go in that 6th, 7th round range to get a tight end. And the bench, I always fill out the bench with running backs and wide receivers. So that's a double RB strategy. And for me, I don't really go into a draft with a strategy. I go in with the best player available, and that's how I've been going over the last few seasons. But if you want to go in with a strategy, even though strategies are meant to break depending how the board dictates the draft, I think this double hero strategy is very solid. And with a deep wide receiving position once again this season in fantasy football, you could get away with this. Get your running backs out of the way early, plug away at wide receivers, then tight ends, quarterbacks, and build the bench. That's double hero RB strategy in a few mocks I did entering the 2025 fantasy football season.